Welcome to Experiments in Happiness with Michelle Lemus, the podcast for high achieving women who've checked all the boxes but still feel something's missing.
I want you to picture this moment. You're standing in the kitchen or sitting in your car or lying in bed scrolling on your phone, and an idea floats up. Something you want to do, something you've wanted for a while. It's not loud, it doesn't shout, it just quietly taps you on the shoulder. And almost immediately, another voice responds, "Not yet, later, when things calm down, when I have more clarity, when I'm ready." And just like that, the moment passes. Not dramatically, not with a big decision. It just slips by. That moment, that pause between desire and delay is what I want to talk about today. Because there's a sentence I hear all the time from friends, from women I admire, from past versions of myself. I know I want to do it. I'm just waiting for the right time. It sounds responsible. It sounds mature. It sounds like patience. But more often than not, it's none of those things. It's fear wearing a very reasonable outfit. When people say they're waiting for the right time, they're usually not talking about a date on the calendar. They're talking about a feeling. When I feel more confident, when things calm down, when I have more clarity, when I'm less tired, when I'm sure I won't mess it up. In other words, when I feel safe enough to begin. And here's the part no one tells you early enough. That feeling almost never arrives before action. It arrives because of action. Waiting feels smart. It feels controlled. It feels like you're being thoughtful instead of impulsive. And in the short term, waiting has benefits. Waiting keeps you comfortable. Waiting protects your identity. Waiting lets you believe you're still on your way without risking failure. Because when you wait, nothing changes, but nothing is lost either. And for high achieving women, especially, this makes waiting feel wise. After all, you're not quitting. You're not saying no forever. You're just postponing. But there's a cost most people don't calculate. Waiting quietly teaches your nervous system that your desires are optional. And over time, that dulls something important. Not motivation, not discipline, aliveness. From a brain perspective, waiting makes perfect sense. Your brain's primary job isn't happiness or fulfillment, it's safety. Anything new, even something you want, registers as uncertain. Uncertainty triggers hesitation. Hesitation feels like wisdom. So your brain offers very convincing suggestions. Let's wait until it's clearer. Let's gather more information. Let's see how things go. None of those thoughts are wrong. They're just incomplete because they don't disappear with time. They disappear with evidence. And evidence only comes from movement. Here's the hidden lie tucked inside the phrase, "I'll start when." The belief that future you will be braver, calmer, more confident, or more prepared than current you. But future you is built from what current you practices. If you practice waiting, future you waits better. If you practice beginning, future you begins faster. There is no version of you who wakes up one day suddenly immune to discomfort. There is only a version of you who has learned how to move with it. And this is why beginning feels so hard, even when you genuinely want to begin, because starting threatens several things at once. It threatens the fantasy that it will go perfectly. It threatens the identity of being almost there. It threatens the safety of not being seen trying. Once you begin, the story changes. You're no longer someone thinking about it, you're someone doing it. And doing exposes you to feedback, to imperfection, to growth, which is exactly why it matters. So here's the reframe that unlocks movement. The right time isn't when fear disappears. The right time is when avoidance starts costing more than action. That cost shows up quietly at first. A little resentment toward your own inaction. A subtle sadness when you think about what you keep postponing. A looping thought that says, there's more, and I'm not touching it. That's not pressure. That's information. And it's not asking you to overhaul your life. It's asking you to begin, small and honest, because insight without action doesn't actually change anything. So let's experiment. Not dramatically, not heroically, just realistically. Choose one thing you've been waiting to start, not the whole thing. Not the polished version, not the scary version. Just the first 5 minutes, the 5 minutes only. No fixing, no optimizing, no perfecting. And when the timer ends, you stop. Yes, really. That might look like opening the document and writing one messy paragraph, walking around the block, drafting the email without sending it, researching one option instead of all of them, saying the thing out loud just to yourself. Your job is not progress. Your job is evidence. Evidence that beginning doesn't destroy you. Evidence that discomfort is survivable. Evidence that momentum exists. What usually surprises people is what happens next. They expect a rush of confidence or sudden clarity. What they get instead is something quieter, but far more useful: relief, energy, a sense of movement, and often a thought like, oh, that wasn't as big as my brain made it. That's how the waiting spell breaks. Not with courage, with contact. If you've been waiting, I want you to hear this clearly. You're not lazy. You're protective. You've learned to be careful, to think things through, to avoid unnecessary pain. But there's a difference between protection and postponement. And if something keeps returning to your mind again and again, that's not pressure. That's guidance. You don't need permission to begin. You don't need certainty to move. And you don't need the right time. You just need the next small step. So we'll keep experimenting, because happiness isn't found by waiting for life to open a door. It's found by turning the handle and opening the door gently and imperfectly.
Thanks for listening to Experiments in Happiness. You can find more tools and resources at experimentsinhappiness.com.